kitchen. So what am I doing today? I am going to show you how I did my sourdough starter and how I have so much discard and I'm doing different recipes with that discard. And this is the old way. This is how my grandmother used to make bread. She didn't use this dry yeast that we buy in the store. And this is why I want to show you how I did my own, and I'm getting very successful with it. And then now I have all that discard that I'm using for different things. So I had told you that I was going to show you how I did my starter. So that's what I'm going to do today. I also find out, and why I went into this mission, that making sourdough bread, that sourdough bread is better for diabetes, for people that are diabetic. So that's why I start doing this sourdough journey, and I've been trying to make different recipes. So anyway, so I'm going to show you so you too can have this. And these starters can go for years. I've known people that have had starters from relatives that are gone and they still have their starter. So this might be something that you want to incorporate in your baking, whatever you do every day. And it's good to have because we just never know what the future holds ahead. The olden days were there for a reason. So in here I have half a cup of room temperature water. So if you don't have filtered water in your tap, you can use bottled water. That would be the safe. This one we have it filtered water, and so it's good to use for this. So in my jar, and you want a bigger jar where you make it and it has enough to grow. And this is going to take, mine took to be fully awakened. It took me at least 2 months, almost 2 months, because the weather is colder now. So I'm going to put my half a cup of water, and then I have half a cup all-purpose flour. I'm using flour that I use for my baking. Whatever flour you use for baking, you can do this. Some people use special flours, you can use bread flour, but this is what I have. I wasn't gonna go buy extra flour just to do this, so I'm using what I use every day. All-purpose flour. I buy my flour at Costco in bulk, so that's what I do. So that's all you do, and you want your starter to be like this, a little bit thick, but not too thick and not too thin. You want, actually, if anything, is for me, I found with this type of flour, I wanted a little bit less thinner, a little bit more thick, because it produces a better starter. That's what I found. And this is trial and error. So, and that's it. That's all we're gonna do. So I'm not gonna close the whole thing. I'm just gonna leave it just holding so there's air circulation still going through, because if I tighten, this fills up, it can explode. Not at this point yet, but it can. So I'm gonna leave this in my counter, and then tomorrow I'll show you what I do. But before I do anything, I'm gonna name this starter. Now, why do we name our starter? Because it's just like, this gonna become like a family member. And for some people, that's what it is. They named their starter, and it becomes like a family member because it was given from their grandmother or great-grandmother, passed it down. I know people that have had starter for 20 years. They just keep feeding, and and when you're not using it, you can put it in a refrigerator. This is ideal for that last minute making bread, and you just feed it. And if you don't have yeast, not all of us always have yeast at home, or if you have yeast and it's not good and you can't get to the store, you can always rely on this starter. So there's two things I'm gonna do. I'm gonna mark it and I'm gonna name this. Why am I marking this starter? Because you're going to see if it start growing. So I know mine is right here, so I'm gonna mark it. You can mark it with a erase pen, or I use a rubber band. And my other one I have is a rubber band. So what am I gonna name this starter? I'm gonna name my starter named Jan. So from now on, I'm gonna address this starter as Jan, okay? And I've watched some people on YouTube, they say they even kind of talk to their starter, kind of boost it up. I don't know if that helps, but you know what? I do with my starter. My starter is Angel, and it's been producing and growing like an angel. So I thank it. Thank you, Angel, for being so good to me. So anyway, this is my beginning for my starter, and I'm gonna put it on the counter, and then tomorrow I'm gonna discard some of this. This is still no good, so I'm gonna throw it in the garbage, or you can start putting in a jar, which is what I did. So I'm gonna discard half of this, put more flour, more water, and then doing this for a few days until you start seeing it growing. Okay friends, another day. Today I'm doing my second feeding on my starter. So my starter, it doesn't smell nothing yet, but I don't know if you can see. There's some bubbles in there. And it got a little bit softer. So I'm gonna take half a cup and I'm gonna put it in my discard. Actually, I'm gonna get a little bit more, still too much in here. Okay. This is where my discard goes, and then this is what I've been using it. In here I have half a cup of flour, and then I have a quarter of a cup of room temperature water. I'm gonna put the water first, and I'm gonna mix with my starter. This is what they call feeding your starter. And you do this once a day. And try to do it always at the same time. But if you want to speed this up, do 2 feedings a day. Do one in the morning, one in the evening, and you're going to get more discard, but it will speed up because you're feeding it more flour and more protein for them to start developing. So now I put my flour, and I'm gonna mix all of that until it's well combined, and it stays like that, thick pancake batter. That's how you want it. And this is second feeding. We're gonna do this for 5 days, or as long as it takes until that starter rises half of what you start. That's why we mark that line, so we know if it has double in size. Okay, so that is done. And instead of me marking, I'm gonna put a rubber band, and that will be my guide where the starter. So my starter is right here. So it starts right there. So, and that's, which is about what it was yesterday. We took half a cup and then we put another half a cup, so it should start at the same. And at this point, you're not going to see much change. You might see a little bubble here and there. That's about it. But you're trying to develop that starter from beginning. And there won't be no smell. Maybe by the 5th day, then you're going to start seeing kind of a funky smell. And so anyway, so I'm going to put this back in my counter, and then tomorrow I'll show you the 3rd feeding. Okay friends, it's day 3 of my starting my starter. I'm going to feed my starter again. And it has bubbles already. And it did rise this morning, but it went down again. So I'm going to take another 1/2 cup. This is 1/4 cup. I'm going to take a little bit more and put it in my discard. And then I'm going to feed another 1/2 cup. Here's 1/4 and 1/2. And I need 1/2 cup room temperature water. Okay. And I'm gonna mix all this. And then leave it for another day. And you do this until the starter doubles in size and it's full of bubbles. Let me show you how Jan looks. This is Jan, my starter. Look at that. Look how bubbly that is. She is alive, but she doesn't have that sourness that I want. So I'm still gonna discard some of this and feed it again. She overburst last night. Look at this. Oh, you are doing good, my friend. So I'm gonna discard 1/2 cup of starter, and then I'm gonna feed 1/2 cup of flour and 1/4 cup of water. I'm gonna change this this jar because I need to clean that. I'm gonna put 1/2 cup of flour. This is bread flour. I'm using Jan with bread flour to see if it makes a difference between bread flour and all-purpose. So, and then the 1/4 cup of water. I'm gonna mix that. And then I'm gonna incorporate the starter. Okay, now I'm gonna add the starter. I got a bigger jar because I think she's doing great things. She needs a bigger jar. She's doing good, but it doesn't have that sourness smell yet that I'm looking for. So that's why I am feeding her. Okay, there's a little bit more in here. Can't waste none of this. And you know, once you have a good starter, very little goes a long way. You don't need a lot of starter to make it come alive. So I'm gonna wash this. Okay friends, we are at the end of our journey with Jan. I transferred Jan yesterday to this bigger jar And look, she is double in size. And I want you to see this. This is how you know. Look how many bubbles is all over this starter. And it smells so good. You can smell that. So in here I have 500 grams of bread flour and 10 grams of salt. And now I want to add 350 grams of water. I'm going to do a different process. I usually mix the starter with the water, but I'm going to do something different. I saw a little bit more, but that's fine. I can't pull water and talk at the same time. Anyway, I'm going to mix the water with the flour, and then I'll add the starter. I saw somebody do that, and I want to see how it goes. So anyway, I'm gonna do it by hand. I like the feel of the dough in my hands. That's how I know what it's supposed to feel like. I'm grabbing the flour from around the bowl, and this looks a little bit kind of hard, but we're gonna add the starter so it will soften. And I'm gonna mix this, and I'm gonna let this sit here for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, I'm gonna put the starter, and I'm gonna see if it does any difference. That's what I'm doing, just trying different methods to see if it does anything different. So I'm gonna cover this, leave it here for 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back and put the starter. Okay friends, it's been 15 minutes. Now we're gonna add the starter to my dough. And I need 100 grams of jam. Look at this, full of bubbles. Beautiful. 100 grams. Okay. And now I'm gonna mix all this. Just keep folding. Folding the dough into that starter, and it will mix. And then as we do stretch and fold, it will incorporate. So you've seen me do a lot of, I'm not gonna record all the stretch and folds. You know how it does. But I will show you the final product when jam is baked. So anyway, I'm gonna leave this here for about 60 minutes, an hour covered, and then I'll start giving stretch and folds. And we do sets of 4 stretch and folds. I'm gonna do stretch and fold all around 2 times, and then I do the coil folds, and then we'll go from there. I left my dough rising on a counter overnight. Look, all these bubbles. This is for 1 week old starter. And look at that jiggly. So I'm gonna shape this, and then I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator and then bake it at the end of the day. It's 9 o'clock in the morning here. My baguettes are pre-shaped. I'm gonna let them sit here for 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna shape them. Okay friends, my mission with my starter has come to an end. I just finished taking all my baguettes out of the oven. Well, I took them about maybe half an hour ago, and I want to try and see. It has a good crumb inside. And now we're gonna taste. I left it in the refrigerator for a day and a half. If you try to make this bread, Let me see if I can open in a bigger crumb so you can see. This one is a lot better than I've made one before. Look at this. Look how beautiful this looks, and it's crunchy and soft. You give it a try to make your own starter this winter and make some of this, because once you make it, you can't stop it. I'm addicted to this. I can't stop making it. So, but I'm getting better at it, and this is the reason why I keep doing it. It's because I'm getting better at it. I'm understanding better the process of making sourdough bread. And these baguettes, my favorite. So anyway, give it a try. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Don't forget to click the bell so you will be notified when I do my videos. And give me some thumbs up. And until next time, let's get cooking, or let's get baking.